he should open his ears, because maybe he doesn't consciously realize why a lot of people are not okay with this song, and he should really listen to that.
I'm actually not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm pleased that you are, and I'm pleased that you are.
You do agree that he should be allowed to say whatever he wants.
Because as a lawyer, when I put my legal hat on, I don't believe in censorship.
Right.
However, this man is from Macon, Georgia. My father's from Augusta, Georgia, and Macon, Georgia. I spent many summers there. Yeah, both. I spent many summers there. It is one of the most racist places in this country.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be taking a look at The View, hearing some of their opinions and their takes on Jason Aldean's new song, Try That in a Small Town. And it comes as no surprise that this 9-minute clip was a cesspool of terrible, just terrible takes, biased takes, ridiculous takes, a lot of nonsense we about to hear in this, and a lot of things that you can quickly and easily debunk, if I'm just being honest. And I'm not even the sharpest tool in the shed, or you know, the most well studied and educated, but they flat out lied about a lot of the stuff going on in the video with the imagery and some other stuff. So we're about to get into it. Before I start the video, I honestly think it's one or two things, or maybe it's both. Obviously, these ladies on The View, they have a bias and, you know, a line that they need to toe. You know, as far as The View goes, what's the girl? Alyssa Fair Griffith, whatever her name is. She's the only one on the panel that will kind of, you know, chirp back and clap back, you know, to Whoopi and Sunny and Joy Behar and all these super pro-liberal women. Anna Navarro, who claims she's a Republican. Alyssa Fair Griffin is the only one who will kind of chirp back, but even she is pretty lukewarm and won't get real, you know, in terms of backing the conservative side and representing it well sometimes. So, you know, The View has a target demographic, and, you know, they can't be too conservative. They can't lean too far right. They got to stay on the left. That's what keeps them afloat with their fan base. There's that, and I also think that there are two different types of people living two completely different types of realities when it comes to the way we see race relations, crime, and a lot of these pivotal moments that happen in the country that kind of shake it at the core. And, you know, people like these ladies on The View live in the type of world where so many things are viewed from a racial lens and so many things are about race. They insert race into things that aren't even necessarily about race, you know, just constantly making racism and race more relevant than it needs to be. But with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we watching. Hit that notification bell. Now let's roll it.
Listen, you know, there are lyrics in the song, and I think, you know, he talks about life in a small town, and it's different, you know, and he shows these images. He's got folks from the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's talking about people taking care of each other. And I find it so interesting that it never occurred to Jason or the writers that that's what these folks were doing. They were taking care of the people in their town because they didn't like what they saw. Just like you talk about people taking care of each other in small towns. We do the same thing in big towns. You just have to realize that when you make it about Black Lives Matter, people kind of say, well, are you talking about black people? What are you talking about here? If we're talking about Americans taking care of each other, then it shouldn't be about Black Lives Matter. You should be able to show all the different things that have gone on in our country where people stood up and said no more. We do the same thing that small towns do. That's my 2 cents to that.
All right, stop the freaking music. So I just heard this song today for the first time, and I already know a lot of the lyrics, by the way. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Man, it's a banger. But he did not mention Black Lives Matter or BLM in that song one time. The writers did not throw that tad bit, BLM. They did not put that in the song one time. Matter of fact, in a lot of the imagery that we're seeing, I see more white people than anything. I see more white people in that video. It's a white girl spitting in somebody's face, spitting in the cop's face. I see more white people in that video than anything. It's not like black people were the only people acting a fool, you know, during the 2020 riots and in other situations where there were riots. You know, Whoopi, like I said in the intro, Whoopi is making this about Black Lives Matter and making this a race thing about black people. And she's claiming that these people gathered because they didn't like what was happening to people in their town and they were trying to take care of people in their town. A lot of the white people that came and supported BLM did it strictly for virtue signaling purposes, first of all. And she's making it seem like the only thing we saw was people kumbayaing, coming together. There was no lawlessness. There was no riots. There was no looting. You know, I quite frankly saw videos of people coming together to take advantage of all of that, you know, pretend kumbaya stuff just so they could loot and just so they could riot. And that's something that people on the right, conservatives, are vocal about. Why aren't you talking about this? People causing chaos in rioting and all of that stuff. Why are you so quiet about this? Why don't you want to mention that? Jason Aldean is just mentioning that in the song. But he didn't say nothing about BLM. He didn't say anything about black people specifically. But let's continue.
The imagery is what becomes very problematic.
You can, again, you can sing, but you know, there's a lot wrong here with this. This is a man who saw what happens when someone is out of control with their guns.
Yeah.
He's someone who was performing in
Vegas,
and he saw people get, so I don't understand how he could be that disconnected, how people around him didn't say to him, hey, listen, you know what? Maybe there's a better way to do this because...
Well, the imagery invoked race. That's what was...
There's no reason to separate big city people from small town people. That, to me, is the divisive part of this song. I mean, it's a deplorable song and it's annoying. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're going to round up. Well, that S might fly in the city. Good luck. It's very divisive and provocative, but I defend his right to do this video.
Absolutely.
Because they can't censor me, they shouldn't censor him either. But he has to understand that the big cities are supporting the small towns. Blue counties are responsible for 70% of America's economy. The big cities are really providing the things that you have in these small towns. You should not be against big cities.
Talking about why, like, are they blind? And see, this is what I'm saying. Like they say some of the things that they say because they have to say it and they have to toe these lines, but also they just live in some sort of different reality. Are we seriously going to sit up here and act like the crime that you see in the cities isn't disproportionately crazy, nuts? People going into stores, running out with big bags of retail goods, like Jason Aldean said in the song, robbing grannies at gunpoint at the red light. I just seen a video on the internet yesterday of a bunch of kids robbing an old black dude pushing an ice cream cart. This stuff ain't happening in no small town. It's happening in a big city. You can't just talk about what's actually going on. You know, I made the reference in the reaction video to Jason Aldean's song earlier, but nobody has anything to say about rap lyrics. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to snitch here, nothing like that. But I mean, hey, you put it out there for the world to hear. You put it out there for the world to hear. Nobody said nothing about rap lyrics, which are 10 times, 30 times worse. They talking about this is bad and this is problematic. You have gangs rapping about gang wars and keeping scores of killing each other in rap lyrics. And that stuff is promoted. Nobody bats an eye. Black people killing black people. Nobody bats an eye. That's much more dangerous and much more prevalent, happens much more often than the type of stuff that they talking about here. But let's continue.
I'm actually not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm pleased that you are, and I'm pleased that you are.
You do agree that he should be allowed to say whatever he wants.
Because as a lawyer, when I put my legal hat on, I don't believe in censorship.
Right.
However, this man is from Macon, Georgia. My father's from Augusta, Georgia, and Macon, Georgia.
Here we go.
I spent many summers there. Yeah, both. I spent many summers there. It is one of the most racist places in this country. So don't tell me that.
Can we fact check that? Is there any way we can determine the validity of that statement? No. She just talk about divisiveness. Talk about being divisive. These towns are two of the most racist towns in all of America. Some she can't even prove. She's talking about growing up and her daddy, bro. How old is her dad? How old is her dad? What age was he when he was growing up there? Yes, towns have history. Certain towns have history. We're not gonna omit that. But it's 2023. This song just came out in 2023. This isn't 1940. Let's continue.
That he knew nothing about what that imagery meant and what he. So I don't give him the benefit.
But I'm saying, along with him, more people should also be held accountable. The other thing is that what was evoked for me, which was, you're not going to get out of this town, are those sundown
don't let the sun
areas
go down on your ass.
Because there were times when black people, my mother's in the audience today, thank you for coming. And my mother and father, because they were an interracial couple, were run out of South Carolina by the KKK. And my father is still scarred from that experience, and you are still scarred from that experience.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. You just pushing trauma onto these people, telling them how scarred they are, her own parents. Like I said, man, I'm sorry to hear that, but that was then and this is now. Not saying that we shouldn't look at history, we shouldn't count history. I hear that. I understand that. But she talking about interracial marriages, again, just diverting, moving the goalposts, going off topic. Jason Aldean in this song, him and the writers did not say anything about don't try that interracial couple stuff in the small town. So why are we going there? I don't like the mental gymnastics of going from they ain't even talking about the song at this point. They are not talking about the song. Whatever they talking about history, anecdotal history. They're not talking about the song anymore. I heard the song for myself, and my mind did not go to any of these places. Not only me, but tons of other black people. You can see a lot of black content creators, reacting to this song, and I don't see many people having a big problem with it, it's plenty of people out there. I got some crazy comments in my first video already. I should go pin one of the crazy comments I saw. Somebody said you won the coon of the week or something like that. It's ridiculous. But it's not like I'm just doing this I'm not doing it only to get likes and to get clicks. Like, this is a genuine reaction. And I genuinely enjoyed the song. And when I heard the song, I did not go to all of these negative places that they are going to, that they are managing to go to in this show and in this segment right here. And this just shows you people who live in the present and people who live in the past. We can never move forward as a society when you have people who think like this. We can never move forward. Sonny Holston is insufferable. I can't. The View is only good for reaction content because, man, I cannot stand this. I can't stand these ladies sometimes.
So we're all still scarred from that experience.
So don't tell me that not only was he aware of what he was doing by using that imagery, he embraces that imagery. And unfortunately, this became the #1 song on U.S. iTunes. We have a problem in this country about race, and the biggest problem is we refuse to admit that it exists.
Well, don't you think that a lot of this big city, small town business is racist, is about race? The cities have more black people than the small towns.
Of course,
and you turn on Fox.
Jesus. And so that's about race too. The cities have more black people, so that's about race. Again, try that in a small town. The imagery Sonny Holston claims was so bad. I saw more white people in the video than black people. I might have saw a handful of black people in that whole video. I think the people who made the video were smart enough not to include too many black people because they know how it will be perceived. And even though the video has more white people in it doing dumb stuff, it still came across the exact same way. These people are just reaching. The things that he's talking about, the things that he's saying. Are we not going to mention like a place like Portland in 2020 where they had what do they call that? A zone where you cannot cross, a no entering zone or something like that. A bunch of Antifa kids white Antifa kids in Portland, doing all types of crazy stuff. he not only talking about black people. It's just lawlessness in general. You try that stuff in a small town, see how well it works out for you. The fact that they are managing in their mind to make this about black people is all on them, because a lot of black people are listening to this song and are not coming up with the same conclusions. But of course, Sonny Holston is.
You turn on Fox News any given time of the day, and there's all these stories about New York and California being crime-ridden states. The states with the worst murder rates are all red states: Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Missouri.
Okay, and where exactly is that happening? What is it? Louisiana? Where all these places? Who's doing the crime? Who's doing the killing? Like, can we not just be honest? Can we not say the truth? Is saying the truth bad? Is that wrong? Is it so bad to say the truth? Man.
Democrat, Republican, there are a lot of small towns that are not.
This is all political stuff.
But I know, but I'm saying that not every small town is a red or a blue.
But the ones that he's talking from.
You have the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I have a legal note.
Really?
Yes.
I do.
Shocking.
Jason Aldean defended his song in a statement, saying the references people have made are not only meritless, but dangerous. He added, there is not a single lyric in that song that references race or points to it.
It's not.
And there isn't a single video clip that isn't real news footage.
Did you ever hear of a dog whistle?
And while I can try and respect others to have their own interpretation of a song with music, this one goes too far.
No,
I've heard enough. I've heard enough, man. I'm gonna leave this in the description. Y'all probably don't want to go watch this. I'm sure y'all had enough. Man, closing statements, closing remarks. These ladies are reaching. They are reaching to the moon. Just reaching. There was no racism. There was no singling out of black people. There was none of that. None of that in this song. None of that. None of that. If you got a problem with statistics and crime, take that up with the people doing it. You know, there is a reality when it comes to, you know, crime and certain statistics, and people might want to give their different reason in history and all types of stuff that happened as the reason to that. But hey, if the shoe fits, then the shoe fits. But in this particular song, the writers, they said nothing about black people. They did not mention anything about BLM. They didn't even say Antifa. They didn't mention any groups. Jason Aldean didn't mention any groups specifically, no people specifically. He was talking about certain actions, certain things that people do. You try that in a small town, see how far you make it down the road. That's it. That's it. That's all I got for this video, you guys. That was a rough one to get through, but let me know what you thought about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell on your way out the door. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.